Welcome to Channel I Make, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Kao Yang, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now we have just been through the budget report announcements last week or the week before, and with a lot of media going around debating where housing crisis, the relationship between housing crisis and the migration numbers. And with the migration numbers, they're talking about net migration and the permanent migration and temporary migration. Now, all these numbers, I believe a lot of people will really get confused. So I decided to have this video actually explain and also do the mathematics to actually show how the government is actually going to stack up with all the upcoming 2024 and 25. Now, obviously, if you have seen the thumbnail, my mathematics showing that basically the international student is going to be have a dramatic drop in numbers. Now, if that is going to be true, obviously a lot of education institution provider is gonna close down or go administration or just busted. It's just gonna go, and there's no way to go. That's what I'm trying to say. And bankruptcies will be filed, and a lot of student visa might not go through. Well, we already experienced that already, and now the minister of the education, Jason Clare, has already distributed and provided the numbers and quota that's gonna control every single university and education provider with a capped number per campus. So I'm not too sure how many students they want for the upcoming 2021-25, but the number that I have done the mathematics showing, it's gonna be terrifying for everybody. Anyway, let's have a read. Let's start with this news article from The Guardian with the topic saying that the Labour's international student cap, an unprecedented overreach and recipe for chaos. Now I'm gonna explain how that will be with what I have done with the accurate, well, not accurate mathematic calculation. Now, if my calculation is correct, yes, it will be chaos. Now, we have learned that there is a cap on international student. As I have said, the Education Minister Jason Clare last week will have given the power and set a maximum number of new international student enrollments. Of course, and providers with university ability to enroll students depend on the establishment of new purpose-built student accommodation. So if that university doesn't have accommodations, probably you won't be allocated for international student. Now, what about those private colleges? What about TAFE? I never heard TAFE's got a student accommodation. Maybe they are a few, but definitely for private educators, colleges out there, I haven't seen any one of them would have or provides student accommodation. So here was the answer. They probably will all go where? Go busted. Okay. A similar cap will be operated on a vet sector based on advice and skill and training ministers. So anyway, I don't know if there is numbers of vet sectors will provide what? Purpose-built student accommodations. I've never seen one personally. The change come after the number of international students, they went up to 700,000, blah blah blah. That's all accumulated from the years, and also the numbers are accumulated after COVID, where they had provided the 408 visa for that purpose there. Now we have also learned a key number. Now I want you to actually remember this number. That is, the Labor wants to reduce annual net annual migration. Annual migration includes permanent and temporary. Okay, just get that in your head. Okay, get that in your head first. And the number is 260,000 by 2025. So that means starting from July 1st until 30th of June 2025, there's only gonna be 260,000 people arriving in Australia. Now that I believe that will exclude the visitor and travelers, and I think that will exclude working holiday makers as well. But by saying that figure is quite terrifying. Okay. So immigration and higher education experts have fiercely criticized the unprecedented plan to cap set by the minister. Now, why is that so important? Because we also know with this, the migration program planning level, which was announced a couple hours right after the budget, that has shown that for the year between 2024 and 25, the permanent migration intake program will be set at 185,000. Now, if we do the mathematic right, 260 minus 185, we end up with 75,000. Now, what's going to be in 75,000? Now, 75,000 will be all the temporary migration numbers, temporary migration visitors coming into Australia. Now, usually these temporary migration is categorized into two major sectors. Of course, one will be international student. The other one will be the working visa holders, so that they hold the TSS 482 visas. Now, key here, let's go into the historic data and let's see how many employment-sponsored visa workers coming into Australia previously. So I'm gonna jump right out of from pre-pandemic level to actually see the numbers, so we can see a more accurate, and because we don't have COVID anymore, so picking on those numbers will have more accuracy there. So if we jump into this document here, this is actually a document with the numbers on the temporary resident. That's all the TSS 482 visa holders and the visa approved in 2019. Now we can see how many of these people were. There were around 35 to about 45-ish. So between the years of 2015 to 2019, there were about 35 to about 40,000, 35,000 to 40,000, around those kind of figures. And the previous format, they had higher rate because that was back in the 457 visa date, where the criteria is much loose. There's no requirement of work experiences, so they have a lot of people have jumped into the work related visa there. Now, if we follow this figure here, just make it 40,000 for the work visa holders. That's going to be that means we're just pulling an average figure here. If we only have 75,000 for temporary visa migrants coming into Australia for 2024 and 25, and then we minus the 40, what we get 35 only, 35,000 left. Now, were that going to be all international students? Well, perhaps. But if we go into the statistic figures showing back in pre-pandemic level, do you know how many student visas were granted in 2018 and 19? Let's look at that. Now, this is actually a document you can download it from Immigration's website, Home Affairs website straight away. In 2018 and 19, Australia has granted 405,742 student visas. Now, if we're talking about we're going to drop that down to only 35,000, that's cutting what? We're talking about cutting 90%. 90%. That's technically 90%. That's correct. 90%. Of all the student numbers, international student numbers. Now, I'm not too sure how this will actually make it through for 2024 and 25 for the international education sector. Because if we do the calculation right, yeah, that's cutting 90%. 90% of international students used to hold or used to be applied and granted in pre-pandemic level will be completely out. Because for temporary, again, how do I get this figure? I hope I'm wrong, but how did I get this figure? We understand that labor for the net migration figure will be 260,000. Now that will include permanent and temporary. Now permanent, we know there's going to be 185,000. So the net minus the permanent, then we get 75,000 left for temporary. Now if we follow the pre-pandemic level on the work visa issuance number, then we only got 35,000 left can be allocated to international student. Now if that is true, if that is what is true, now obviously that you may argue that student visa should not be counted as a temporary visa holders. Now that probably will be wrong, because what we have seen, all the actions being doing by the government is all restricting the number of international students. So if that is going to be true, this is not just going to be a chaos, it's going to be horrifying. But anyway, we don't know what's gonna be. What we have seen, the government of Australia in the immigration sector, they change all the time. Perhaps they may change by Christmas this year. Perhaps. I hope so. But see how it goes. Anyway, should you have more questions, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.